In this video, we'll show you how to create and run dynamic mapping tasks in Cloud Data Integration. We'll cover what dynamic mapping tasks are and demonstrate how to create them to run jobs in different cloud environments. A dynamic mapping task is used to create and batch multiple jobs that use the same parameterized mapping logic. You can create a dynamic mapping task for any mapping that uses parameters, including elastic mappings. When you configure a dynamic mapping task, you assign values to the mapping parameters before you run the task. For example, you can create a mapping with parameterized sources and targets, and then configure a dynamic mapping task with jobs to run the mapping using different cloud storage systems. One job can run the mapping on data files stored in Amazon Redshift, and another job can run the mapping on files in Microsoft Azure Synapse SQL. Now, let's demonstrate. Our sample data includes product information from our grocery store business. We want to create a slowly changing dimension Type 2 table with this data. When the information is updated in source, we insert a new row in our target while also maintaining the previous value. One part of our business stores data in Amazon Redshift, and another uses Azure Synapse. Both use the same schema, so we can create jobs in a dynamic mapping task to update both of the targets. In data integration, we have a parameterized mapping set up to update the target as a Type 2 SCD table. This mapping is pretty complex, so it'll be easier for us to create a dynamic mapping task rather than maintaining multiple tasks and parameter files for different cloud environments. Since our data is stored in different clouds, we are using parameters in a number of different places in this mapping, including the source connection and the data object, as well as the target connections and target data objects. Parameterization lets us easily switch out the connections for different storage systems without needing to redevelop even on different cloud platforms. Let's use this mapping to create and run a dynamic mapping task with jobs for each of our storage systems. First, we need to create a dynamic mapping task. In the general properties, we'll select a runtime environment and then select our parameterized mapping. In the parameters properties, we'll keep the scope of all of our parameters set to local, which means that we'll assign the value in each job that we create. If we changed it to default, we could set one value to be used by all the jobs that we configure in this task. In the jobs properties, we'll start by creating a group. Job groups run sequentially, but for this example, our jobs can run at the same time, so we only need one group. Next, we'll create a job. Let's call this job job_Redshift and assign it to the group we just created. We'll select the Amazon Redshift connection for the source connection parameter value, and then choose the source object from this connection. For the target, we'll use the same connection, but a different data object. Then we'll finish setting the values for the rest of our parameters. Next, we'll create another job. We'll call this one job_Synapse and assign it to group 1. For this job, we'll select an Azure Synapse connection for the source connection parameter value and choose the source object. We'll use a different object from the same Synapse connection for the target, and then configure the rest of the parameters. Now that we're done configuring jobs, we can configure the runtime options. For the purposes of our demo, we'll keep the default scheduling options, and then we can save the task. After it saves, we'll run the task. When our jobs finish running, we'll take a look at the results. In the Amazon Redshift target, we can see that row 2 is updated with a new end date, and the last row has been inserted with the new product rating. In the Azure Synapse target, we can see the same thing. Both of the jobs ran successfully. And that's it. In this video, we showed you how to use Cloud Data Integration to create a dynamic mapping task, assign parameter values for the task, and run tasks in different cloud environments. For more information, see Tasks in the Data Integration Help, visit our communities and support hubs, or check out our website.